Hey everybody, we are live again. This is the second Vengeance interview for today. I am here with Monique Williams. I almost murdered your name. I'm so sorry. I'm here with Ericka Monique Williams. She plays Detective Aminata Jennings
I'm just
on
gonna
the
have
show
100 on this okay?
Vengeance
Sorry.
is Mine. I was like, wait a minute, Victoria just popped back in. She plays Detective Aminata Jennings on the show Vengeance is Mine. Um, and we are very happy to have you today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me. I do also want to mention Prince Rasheed was supposed to be here today, but due to illness, he was not able to make it. So I wish him a speedy recovery to get over that cold he has. But thank you so much for joining me. How are you feeling today?
I feel good. I'm glad to always have something going on, something to do. Behind the scenes, people don't realize when you're in the business for real, you stay busy. They may not see you all the time, but you stay busy.
Right. Talk to me about your character.
My character is a detective who is very serious about her position, sometimes a little bit too overbearing. She thinks that she's always right, which, if you ask anybody that knows me in real life, they'll say that's very true to me.
Mhm.
She's just sure of herself, and she's confident in what she does, and she doesn't take any shorts. She's not playing the street code, um unlike her partner, which we'll let him talk about himself. But she's battling with her partner because she's trying to do things the right way.
She's very by the book, very sharp. She
Yes.
wants and her main goal is to take Crank down. The
Yes, she's serious about.
and how does she come into the storyline?
So after the main character's sister is kidnapped, she's called in to investigate what's going on with Crank and what's going on with the little girl that's missing. So you first see her going to Crank's sister, and she played an awesome role. I don't know her real name, but she goes to interview her about the disappearance, and that's where you see how she's no nonsense. Like, even though it's a little girl that she's talking to, she's not trying to appease to her. She's like, seriously, you let me in your house, and you need to give me this information. No holds barred.
Right. And so and she's really not supposed to interview a child without being in the presence of an adult. And
Right.
that's the risk the detective is taking because she's really trying to, get to the bottom of what's going on with Crank, right?
Yeah, I mean, we know from the Central Park Five, right? The five guys in New York that were accused of raping a white woman, that they were railroaded because they were interviewed without their parents. So I hope all parents understand. I tell my kids, don't talk to the police if I'm not there, and you tell them that you can't talk to them because your parent is not there. So she's wrong for that, but because she was let into the house, she kind of takes that, advantage of that fact.
Right. And and I guess she does her very best to get whatever she can out of Anaya, who is Crank's
Yes.
sister. And
Uh,
Anaya lets her know, you're wrong for this, you're wrong for that. I'm a minor, you're gonna get in trouble, right?
yes.
And then she has this big confrontation with Crank. How was now Crank is played by Ray Myers, and then you have Jamaica played by Kai Brown, and then Crazy Kev is Dominique Walker, and then I don't even remember who the um Malcolm D, the one with the Pete with the throat cut, right?
Right.
And you guys come out, you come on their street as they're coming out of a house, and you're like, look, you're gonna talk to me. And how was that shooting that scene?
So it's funny to me to play a detective because a lot of my roles so far have been like the villainous mom, like the bad mom, or just the cutthroat female. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play a detective because I like a lot of detective shows. I like a lot of the crime dramas, like cold case files and stuff like that. So for me to play a detective was so exciting because I always say I would have been a good detective, but at the same time, um, the way that I came up with a lot of my guy friends. Fortunately, crossed over the line with the
Mhm.
law, and they got in trouble. So in real life, I wouldn't be talking to the police. you know,
Mhm.
as we get older now, we see the difference though in if it's that whole no snitching thing, right? If
Mhm.
somebody in your family that got hurt, that's not considered snitching, right? That's not you snitching if you did something wrong and you're trying to get off and you telling your friends who was there with you. That's considered to me snitching. So
Mhm.
I don't, I feel like now that I have children, I would definitely, if it comes to the safety of any children, any family members, you got to talk to the police because they're there to help you. We need to understand, our community is very torn with our relationship with police, with with the law, the legal system, the
Mhm.
whole system. So it's kind of like you treat every cop, every detective as who they are. Because some of them are good. Some of them are, really do care about their community. And I just wanted to come off as I cared enough. I cared not just because I wanted to get a notch on my belt or a bad, whatever commendation, whatever you call it. I wanted to really clean up the area, and it was personal for me. I don't know if there really is a backstory regarding the detective, but a lot of our detectives have family members, right? Our
Right.
cop family members, right? They're not all in the on the right side of the law. So
Right.
I just wanted to be, um, seemed like a respectable black woman that was stepping in to try to clean up my community.
Right. So in season two is coming up. It looks like Shatoya said to you you're being called in for season two, right?
Yeah.
I know that has to be very exciting. Do you think we will learn more about Detective Jennings' backstory?
I hope so. I hope that we will. I think, I'm glad and I'm thankful that Shatoya gave me the opportunity. She doesn't know me. I drove down from Jersey. I had to come twice. She let me line up, my scenes on those days because I traveled there. So I'm hoping that I made her proud enough that she will write me in because at the end of this episode that I was in, the episode 6, I was fired from that case. So you don't really know if I'm coming back.
Right.
So, so I'm glad that she is going to continue to let me have the opportunity. I must thank Prince Rasheed, who I actually knew before Shatoya. He's the one that's, put my name in her ear.
Right.
And then we got to play in the scenes together, and that was really fun. That was fun.
So you're from. So you live in New Jersey
I live in New Jersey, yeah.
now? Okay, and you're from New Jersey, born and raised.
I was
Born and
born in the
raised,
Bronx.
and you were born in the Bronx.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you went to Howard in Washington D.C.
I did.
and then you got your bachelor's degree from Rutgers University, right?
Yes.
Were you in the arts when you were growing up in New Jersey, like into plays and acting and
I
stuff like?
was. I was into plays from a very young age. There was a man named Mr. Gardner who did. We did the Wiz. A bunch of plays. So that was my dream. Actually, my parents had me downtown in New York with an agent, but then when they separated, that kind of fell by the wayside because my mother wasn't really gonna, take me on. That's a lot. It's a lot of work, going to auditions and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it was always something that I had a passion for in my heart to do, and I did it along the way.
Right. So you grew up right near the nerve center of Broadway, New York
Yes.
City. Um, I'll share something. I sent you something on Facebook, personal, and this is it's personal. So, my mother grew up in Perth Amboy, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So when I tell people about Perth Amboy, I say exit 10, not too far from Metuchen. My grandfather was a West Indian. They were, his mother was from St. Kitts, father was from Anguilla, and back then when he was growing up, it was unheard of for a black boy to go to college. He was a singer. He was basically, I'll say, the first black person to be able to get into all city chorus. But at the time during segregation, he could not perform because of the color of his skin. Atlantic
Right.
City. That's what he did the all city chorus. Okay. So, the big thing was he got accepted to Virginia State College, went to college, came back to New Jersey. Everyone in the West Indian community went to Virginia State because of him. That I'll say that. He became so he had those opportunities to perform, to work with NBC and all that, but again, the color of his skin deterred him. However, he and my grandmother put the love of arts into my mother and to my aunt. My mother was a Spanish professor who spoke 5 languages in Perth Amboy. My aunt, it was also in the music. I mean, she and they all graduated from Rutgers University. So when I saw that you went to Rutgers, it hit home.
Okay. I mean, it's a lot that you just said that I have in common with you. So my grandmother came over from Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came over to Harlem, everybody was in the same apartment, family members, because as they came over, they all tried to make it. And then they all, well, about four of my aunts and uncles, including my mom and my dad, moved to Jersey together, to the
Mm-hmm.
same area. And I was a teacher. I taught in Patterson for like 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I saw that, that was truly the connection that we all have, coming up, trying to make it, trying to give our kids a better life. And, there's unity in our community. There is. We need more, but there's definitely, the goal driven people who care about not just their own, but us as a whole. And
Right.
I believe that I'm one of those people. And family, your family being in education, we know the importance of that. We need
Right.
more male teachers right
And
now.
I'm sure there's a lot of things you saw in African American culture in New Jersey and New York that you never really saw that you don't really see down south in
Right.
Virginia. So like my mom used to say when she was a little girl, they used to take the train in New York just to go to the black bookstore where you
Right.
have black authors, you have Broadway plays. Of course you got the Apollo. You know, I think I got my culture education pretty much from her and my grandfather. It's like when he was alive before he died, he still had that VCR where everybody was using DVD players, and everything black that
Right, right, right.
TV screen he was recording. You see a black family getting married, he was recording it because he knew of this negative stereotypes. He knew of
Yes,
segregation, and he knew. Now you say your family's from Jamaica, my family's from Anguilla and St. Kitts.
yes,
People will never understand the significance of our families came through the back door of Ellis Island to be able to
right,
give their children a better life. Now, when you look at these countries, you're like, damn, this is beautiful. Why the hell are you here?
right.
But but they probably don't know what they had to endure and why they came here. And around that time, it's like the industrial period, and then here, and you got the imperialistic period in Paris and Africa taking place, where they're getting their countries taken from them. We're coming, our families are coming to say, hey, America is the place to be, and they were willing to work for little or nothing to be able to give their children a life, to be able to spread that legacy amongst that. How does that make you feel? Because knowing me now, I appreciate it more, and I was like a spoiled brat growing up. So, you know, how does that make you feel?
Wow. So that's a lot. So my dad is from North Carolina.
What part?
He, he's from Durham.
Okay.
And my brother, before he moved up here and met my mom, I had a brother who was older. He passed away, but I used to go down and
I think I lost you. Think we have some difficulty. me see something. Okay, so we lost Ericka. She'll be right back. So we're just waiting for her to come back. So I'm gonna give her a second. So we are talking about Vengeance is Mine, but we're also talking about some things she has done outside of Vengeance is Mine. She plays the detective that tries to take Crank down after being assigned to the case where Benji's sister is kidnapped and Benji's mother is attacked. In the show, Benji is played by Stephen Jackson. Um, Brooke is played by Cadence, which is Stephen Jackson's daughter in real life. And then Tasha Cross is played by Tia Lindsay. Vengeance is Mine premiered a week and a day ago. It has had some great reviews, great comments, great feedback, and the show, the viewers and the viewers are growing. The subscribers are growing. So you guys go. And I don't know how I forgot to put the ticker up, but we're gonna put that ticker back up. But we're gonna while we're waiting for Ericka to come back in, I just want to show you guys that. But we are talking about her character, Detective Jennings, on the show right now. So we're just waiting for her to come back. And thank you guys who are online watching for watching. So yeah, I think the internet's been tripping most of the day. It has been a little bit spotty most of the day, but hopefully we'll be able to we're gonna get through this live. So I'm just waiting for her to come back. So give it about a few minutes.
I'm still on Do Not
Oh,
Disturb.
we're
Right?
back.
Oh my God. Somebody just called on my phone and took me all the way out. I don't know.
Oh, okay. You're on your
Yeah,
phone.
my
That
phone
that would
rang.
make sense because I was like, Lord, the internet is tripping
Yeah, my
everywhere
phone, my
today.
phone rang. Climbed it, and then I don't know what happened. So my daughter just put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So
Yeah.
that's a
So we were
lesson.
talking. So you were saying your
No,
dad was from Durham, North Carolina, and what's your
yes.
mom?
So my dad was from North Carolina. So I got kind of, the summers that I would go down there, I had the experience, the Southern hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
And then living in Jersey is like living in the suburbs. So you're outside of Harlem, but that's where you go. You sleep in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
You go to school there, but when it's the weekends, you go and hang out with your family. And then you have the college life. I was able to experience DC as well. And coming from the islands, not me being born there, but the family, the culture, that also gives you a different outlook on life because they
Mm-hmm.
did get here and we know nothing about that. But a lot of times you see how the difference is between the people that come here and the people that were born here. It seems like um, the work ethic is different sometimes because although we live in America and there are poor people in this rich country, our poor is not like their poor. It's a different poor. So we're a little bit more comfortable and not sometimes we don't have the drive. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. So the people that come from other countries, they're not playing. They come over here to get the American dream. And unfortunately some of us that were born into the American dream have forgot all of they don't understand the struggle.
Right.
That's what divides us a lot of times because we don't understand each other, even though we're the same, but our cultures are different, and we don't understand each person's experience. Because at the
Right.
same, a lot of other people from other countries, even from Europe, black people, well, they're not even called black, right? They're only called black if we're
Mm-hmm.
American. We're American. If they're from another country, you call them European. So they don't even know the racism that we know.
Right.
But then you have Africa, and that's a whole different story. So I mean, we're such multifaceted. Um, our experience and our existence is so unique.
Right.
But the arts brings it all together.
And the arts is a way that people are able to express themselves,
Right,
cope with pain, show their feelings, show that there is happiness in the world,
right.
spread
We
positive
learn a
messages.
lot. We learn a lot.
You learn a lot. How important was the arts to you? Now, I know you're supporting characters, so you're like in 4, 5, and 6 of the episodes,
Right.
and I bring your experience as an actress and in movies to the table on the show. How important is the arts in general in this world? Is what I want to know. Hear from you.
Well, you look at okay, so entertainment is not just film, right? You have theater. Of course, you have music, instrumentals, musicians, not just singers, not just rappers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so all of entertainment is the one thing that brings us all together and breaks down these barriers. Because in the
Right.
workplace, it doesn't really, I mean, not all workplaces, right? But when you work in a setting where everybody may live in a different community,
Mm-hmm.
you don't speak to these people because you work with them. You
Mm-hmm.
don't mingle with them outside of work because they go back to where they're from. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if they're from another country, right? You have Little Italy, you have Chinatown. So we're still separate.
Right.
The only thing, even music is universal. Arts and entertainment is universal.
Right.
I just wish that we could transfer it to real life, right? Because
Right.
unfortunately, and this there's another thin line. So you go back to how we used to perform for our massa, right? Or perform for the elite. They would
Right.
allow us to perform, but we couldn't go in the front door. So it's
Right.
still kind of the case where even in football, and I'm not an aficionado, but in sports you have these teams, NFL teams, where there's no black owners or no black managers, right? We always gripe
Mhm.
about that. They love us on the field, but they don't really love us in the office. You
Exactly.
know, so we're still battling that. Like they'll accept us being entertainers because then we're not really much of a threat.
Mhm.
That's why we have a social responsibility. That's why all of the successful entertainers, really, I believe, have some type of obligation to give back to their community. And a lot of them are. They're
Right.
building developments in where they came from. That's what creatives and artists have the opportunity to do, because it may seem like it's, oh, you just want to be an actor, that's an easy job. But when you get to the level of success, you're in a place where you can help, where regular, people that have regular lives or regular jobs really don't have the a bit, not the ability, but they don't have the capital a lot of times. So they may
Mhm.
do their service, they may put in service, they may go and uh, feed the homeless. Everybody can do their part. But I just feel like, this is such a great field to be in because it's enjoyable. Like, who doesn't like to turn on the TV and watch a good show?
Right.
So not something, although AI and everything else, we go through the tolls now, and I always say, them poor people that used to take the toll, take the money, now their jobs are gone. Like, this is one job that will always be, we'll always be able to entertain. So
Right.
it's important. It's a very important job. It's just as important as being a teacher, an educator, and we don't nearly get paid enough for that.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I couldn't be an educator. I mean, I grew up in the field where I grew up in a family of educators, but I don't think I
Right.
could be. I think I'd be locked up. But
Yeah, I had to
um,
let that go.
yeah. Um, you are currently a TikTok live host for Live Wave launching. Tell me, which is called for your show called E Double Talks, which is coming up in February. Tell me about that.
Okay, so what happens when you are not on a set? You're not really, you're always auditioning, but if you're in a moment where you may not be a part of a production, there's other things that you need to be doing to stay relevant. I mean, and you're not just doing it. If it's not in your heart to do it, then you shouldn't do it, right?
Hmm.
I mean, everybody's not going to be on TikTok. But if
Right.
it's something that you are passionate about, being on live is another performance. So, I've gone from having an in studio radio show, it was called the Boss Lady Chronicles radio show, to
Hmm.
auditioning for this TikTok live host. So, TikTok is trying to clean up their image a little bit. They do have other companies that they work with. So I don't work for TikTok, but it's kind of like, they bring in another a consultation, a consultant,
Hmm.
that tells them what they need, right? Because it
Right.
gets a bad rap for a lot of stuff. So Live Wave, um, has brought in some creators to do live to kind of combat some of the negative things that you're seeing on social media. So that's
Right.
I for that. And so I've only been doing that for about 2 months now. I'm trying to, get to learn, because that whole TikTok, there's so much going on the screen. I'm like, what is, like, my head is spinning, but I'm learning it. So I'm also relaunching my radio show E Double Talks next month. And
Okay.
in the meantime, as I'm continuing to try to get my books adapted for film and television. So,
Hmm.
it's just, you have to, it's like anything else, it's like exercise. You have to keep doing it. You know, if you love the craft, it doesn't matter if I mean, you want to get paid a good amount of money, right?
Hmm.
But
Right.
you also want the experience. So people that go in there and expect to be put on TV, their first acting job and they have nothing on their resume. It doesn't work like that. You have to
Right.
put the work in, because every job, every role you get, you're flexing your muscles, you're exercising that acting thing, you're
Mhm.
learning. Because a lot of us, myself, can't pay for acting school all year round. I might
Right.
take courses here or there, but the best way to do it is to actually do it, right? We have
Right.
so many independent filmmakers. You don't have to go to class. You can be right there on set. You can watch other actors. That's what I love, the culture of actors. We try to help each other. We try to learn from each other.
Mhm.
When I mean, a lot of the productions I've been in, I've made connections with people, and I'm still in touch with them, because that moment that you're in a scene with them, it may not be real, but at that moment, you and that person are experiencing the same thing. And a lot of times you'll be create a bond from that. I mean, I guess that's how some actors get together, because look at Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, right? They did a
Mhm.
movie together, and he ends up cheating on his wife, and they end up being together, because a
Exactly.
lot of it, like they say, art imitates life,
Right.
and life imitates art. So I mean, one thing we have to be able to do is separate the reality
See,
from,
from the film.
yeah, because look at Al Pacino and Scarface. You couldn't tell me he wasn't I forgot, Tony Montana. Like, that's
Yeah.
who he, and even oh, the guy that's playing Jeffrey Dahmer, they said
Oh,
that he's having a lot of bad things within himself. He's battling inner conflict because of playing that part. Like, he's going through a lot.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Now
it's
I
real.
will say is this shout out to Niecy Nash for winning that Emmy for Dahmer.
Right.
She did her thing. I watched that. I watched Dahmer, and I will, the first. And you start watching the first episode on Netflix, and you like, ugh,
I
this is
know. I couldn't.
this is disgusting. But I can't turn from it. What's gonna happen next? Right? I don't know how many episodes I made it through, but I was like, ugh, oh my
Yeah.
god, you did,
What's
because
scary
that,
is that he became like a what do they call a cult like icon,
yeah,
because then now kids want to be him for Halloween. Like, that's the only thing that's sad, is these families that had to watch that, and they're like, this show is popular, and he's being becoming a hero. Like, what is this? It's crazy. It's twisted.
and they had to endure that traumatic experience
Right.
again.
Right.
Do you any now? Do you think any situations you've had in your life helped you prepare for the role of Detective Jennings?
Oh, that's a good question. So I had a situation. I had my own personal situation, and I really, you can say that you'll deal with something a certain way until you're sitting in a hot seat, right? And
Right.
detectives are good at what they do. Like, they know how to, I mean, as many times as I watch First 48, and they'll say, just tell me, and we're gonna help you. If you don't tell me the truth right now, I'm done. I'm stopping the interview. I mean, at the end of the day, you did it, and you're gonna get in trouble for it. And I mean, unless you're an accomplice, and you help them solve the case, you're going
Mhm.
down either way. But
Mhm.
they're good with their charisma and their manipulation. So
Right.
I wanted to make sure that I put a little bit of fear in Crank, even though he wasn't folding for me. But I wanted him to know I was serious. Like, I wasn't gonna give up until I got him. So yeah, I think I just wanted to be that force that when he saw me, he wanted to go the other way.
And some things that come out in this is I think it's like your maybe third confrontation with his sister, and you're telling her
Right.
um your best friend is dead because of your brother's drugs, right?
Right.
But your purpose for messing with Crank really wasn't the drugs. It was to figure out what he did with that child, with
Right.
the guy. not realizing he's not the one. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you know he's involved in his activity, and it's one and so I mean, drug. I mean, when I think of drug addiction amongst teenagers, one thing I think about is opioid
Right.
addiction, which is something that is still an issue in this country today. Making sure kids are aware of the effects of drugs. Even adults are dependent on opioids because opioids are designed to help with pain.
Right.
Perfect example. Prince died from opioid overdose back in
Right.
2016. You
Right.
mean,
Who would have
very,
thought that, right? Who would
yeah,
have
who
ever
would
thought
have thought
that?
that? Okay. Michael Jackson, he died from somebody giving him the wrong dose of propofol, but most people don't realize, and people will like talk about his eccentricity and all this other stuff. Like I didn't realize he was wearing wigs until later on when his hair caught on fire
Hmm.
40
Hmm.
years ago. It's 40 years ago that happened. The Pepsi commercial.
Wow.
People don't realize how much of an impact it had on his life. You can only imagine. Um, you know, I think that there is more education in pain management, or not enough education in pain management to
Right.
teach people how to cope with pain, because most of it is in your mind at the same
Right.
time, but most of it you're feeling it. But that's one thing that stood out is, hey, you told the child. I mean, I don't know if the detective was really lying, but she
Right.
basically said, "Well, my friend's at her dad's house," but that was a way to cover up what was really going on with that child. And so, I mean, what I touched on the show overall is you have to either be aware around your surroundings, no matter what age you are. That's
Right.
something that stood out, along with the PTSD. What are some messages that stood out to you in the show or in the script when you were preparing for the role?
Okay, so the one twist that was really surprising was the fact that the mom was messing with the deacon, right? Back in the
Mm-hmm.
So we have our past. Our past can come to haunt us. And unfortunately for our young girls nowadays, video is serious. You put something on social media, and even if you take it down, it's still there. It's on somebody's screenshot it already. You can't erase that. So I think, a lot of our past comes against us, and then it's at a time where maybe, she turns her life around, but now
Mm-hmm.
it's back at her. A
Right.
lot of things like they say in the Bible, it says like the sins of the father will affect the child, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
it's when you're immature, you're not thinking ahead, and then when you're mature, you it's too late for certain things. You can't redo them.
Right.
So I feel like I wish that our young men and I mean now our girls are getting incarcerated just as much. So it's not even just
Mm-hmm.
the guys anymore. It's not the boys anymore, but I just wish that they would be able to look at these things and really change their life before it's too late. You know,
Right.
like I don't like watching a lot of slave movies and stuff like that anymore because I'm like, all right, already. We know already. We know what happened already. I don't want to keep saying it. But for certain things, we have to keep kind of showing the ugly side of it because the glamorous life, even in entertainment, with narcotics, with addiction, it's that's the glamorous side of it. you
Right.
know you look at the rapper, what's his name, Juice World, right? He
Right.
had all those drugs on the plane, and that
Mm-hmm.
moment to ingest all of those drugs, just because you're scared you're going to go to jail, and really not realize that he died right there. Like, these are stories. There's so many stories of young people that are now they got a lot of money and they don't have the right people around them. I
Right.
mean, it's not new. It's not a new situation, but I
Mhm.
just wonder when things are gonna turn around a little bit. When are they gonna
I
change?
I think the one thing is when a person becomes famous, and
Hmm.
I've seen it plenty of times. Or let's say if a person comes up, they think that they can take everyone with them.
With them, yes.
realizing that the people that they're taking with them can also be the people that can cause their downfall.
Right.
Um, and it's like, and then you have the people that know that you can't take them with you,
Right.
and those people that
We'll try to
expect
sabotage.
you to take with you are like they changed. They're being
Mhm.
snotty.
Mhm.
They have their nose so far up their ass, they don't know who they are anymore. They
Right.
forgot where they came from. Not realizing now these same people don't have nothing to lose in this world.
Exactly.
Okay. These same people don't have to worry about their life changing in a second because they're so comfortable with what they're used to having. And so when they see that one person coming, this person is like, I want this so bad, and they say, okay, I have to make this sacrifice. And once that sacrifice is good enough, they're like, well, you should have sent me money home. You need to be paying my bills. You need to be taking care of me. No, that's their work. They worked hard on that. Unless
Mhm.
it's your mama, your daddy, or any deserving person that helped you cope or endure what you had to endure to be able to meet that task. You know, you always have to you have to teach your children, whether they wind up playing a sport or going to the NFL or the NBA or doing something big. Hey, there are some people you just can't take with you, and if you don't take them with you, it's perfectly okay. Um, don't people change.
Sometimes you feel bad about your success, right? Like, oh, I'm
Right,
leaving them behind, and I came from where they came from, and why should I just up and leave? But people, I mean, one thing, when you are about to elevate, God will show you who's in your corner and who's not, and who you should leave behind.
exactly.
So it's not a question of who you should leave behind, because they've shown you enough times that they're not the person that is going to help you elevate. So you
Right.
don't owe somebody that. Like, it's when they show that there's no loyalty there, that's when you have no more obligation for loyalty. You don't.
Right. And I guess as you grow, they're so cool, but then as you get older, you're like they're not so great, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to let them go or just let them go. I always tell people there's nothing wrong with cutting people off. Sometimes you have to cut a person off to be able to spread your wings and soar. A lot of people are like, I'm gonna hold on to that person, or they'll keep dealing with that person and work around it and deal with it until they get burnt somehow, or I'll say they get fucked and realize, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
I think
and
it's, sorry.
that happens in the entertainment world. That happens in real life. That happens everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Drake said no new friends, right? But
Right.
I think, that depends on who your old friends are. It can't be across the board.
Mhm. And then networking is so important too because you have people with a common goal with
Exactly.
some you learn that there's somewhat of a same agenda. Not everyone has the same agenda. All agendas are not great. Some agendas are great. But most people, as I get older, I guess being learning to be around like-minded people to have the same success is starting to stand out a lot more. And I'm in my 40s, so it's like I should have paid attention to that when I was younger, but I did not. But I think going forward, it's gotten easier to understand where I can instill that in my children, saying, "Hey, be careful who you surround yourself with. If if you don't feel like there's anything you have anything in common, it's okay to separate yourselves from them. Um, there's certain things, certain ways you have to be able to create success, and one is by being around a certain group of people or being around the right people. Some
Right.
people may not necessarily agree with that, but in some as you get older, I mean, it's not basically saying, oh, stick your nose up at the person you grew up with, don't talk to them no more. It's just basically, okay, I can associate with myself with them, but I can't really deal with them on a daily basis.
Right.
Do you
Right.
see that in the same children in the acting world?
Uh, so I feel like there are certain groups of people that came up together, like if you look at a lot of the kids on Nickelodeon, right, or Disney Channel, like Selena Gomez, a lot of them, they're all successful. They became successful. Some of them went to drugs, some of them didn't. But I think you need a network. You can't do it by yourself. I mean,
Mm-mm.
there's certain things that you have to accomplish. There's certain times that you have to be alone. You have to shut everybody out and to focus on your goals. But when it's your niche, you can't expect everybody else to understand it if that's not their niche. So, you want to have a network within what you're trying to do of people that you can, go to because they understand what you're going through. They understand the struggle. They understand that people are looking at you like, you want to be an actor and you think you're going to be successful? You know what I
Mm.
mean? There's people that doubt that they're like, yeah, they don't take you seriously. So you know that people that have gone through the rejection, auditions, they understand that it's something. If you're really serious about it, keep going. You don't give up. You keep your goals, you keep your dreams, and we all need encouragement.
Yes.
It's Yeah, we need somebody to say, you're doing a good job, or keep going. We need that.
Encouragement and empowerment is so important nowadays, especially in the world we're in. I think everyone had a rough 2023 and looking forward to have a very successful and prosperous 2024. And I
Yeah.
think with that is making sure everyone is encouraged and lifted up. We as ladies, in the past, we tend to tear each other down, but now I think as we get older, we're more appreciative of saying, "Hey, we need to lift each other up." What are your thoughts on women empowerment?
So, that is a big deal because unfortunately, when they say crabs in the barrel, we have limited opportunity. We have had limited opportunities, but we find that with the unity of the civil rights movement, they didn't have a lot of opportunities, but their unity is what got them ahead. So
Mm-hmm.
now we have more opportunities, but without the unity, we all, some of us will get to certain levels, but when it all comes down to it, we are the same in their eyes if something happens. Like they're going to bring, you know, each of our men that every year they pick somebody to bring down. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that, what these guys have done to women is okay, but at the time that it was happening, things the culture was different, right? So you had
Right.
Drew Barrymore in clubs at 9 years old drinking alcohol and using drugs, right? So it's kind of hard to go back to a Bill Cosby all these years later when now he's a 70 something year old man. So I'm not saying that to condone the action, but
Mm-hmm.
why would they let R. Kelly go so long without arresting him so that
Right.
they lock him up and throw away the key, right? So
Right.
at the end of the day, they only let us have a certain level of success until they feel that it's time for them to put the little needle, pop the balloon, right? So we need to continue to create our own. That's why with these independent films, everybody can laugh at Tubi. I gotta plug my Tubi movie, Brielle's Tale. Everybody um, has gotten more opportunity now. So now we have to do something different with it. We can't just sell out. We can't just because we can't sign our name on the dotted line and become a prisoner of the powers that be. Sometimes the struggle is better because now we're all owning our own stuff. We're filmmakers. We're not waiting for Universal or any other. I don't want to name any names, but we're not waiting for these big companies to give us a budget. We're doing it without a budget. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the unity of women is important, but we also need to understand that, the culture of men and women, it is what it was. We can't go back and fix that. We just need to move forward and not have the same things happening. Like you can't have a girl 15 years old that wants to be a singer or a rapper and you're sleeping with her. You can't
Right.
do that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mhm.
Now, and the truth, the truth and the right way. As we mature, we want to do things the right way. There is a shift where you can't get away with the things you used to get away with
Mhm.
because it's wrong. It's wrong to sexualize these girls, and as mothers, we need to do better because I've
Mhm.
seen videos and I mean, my daughters are 16 and 12. You know what I'm saying? I do TikToks with them. Some of the music they play in the car, and I'm like, you cannot play that around me. Like, it's a very thin line because you're having fun, but then
Mhm.
now you turn around, you got 6 and 7 year old girls working on Instagram, and the videos going viral. So we
Yeah.
just like we gotta just be mindful. I'm
Yeah.
not saying always make the right choices as a parent.
It's kind of
But
what's the girl name? Was it Sexy Red? And everybody saying scared. Then you got little kids saying it like it's okay. And there's like one particular this little girl on the video with a microphone saying hands on your knees. I'm like, oh no,
and there's a
no,
little rapper boy that's like 5 years old talking about rape. I
yeah,
mean, it's it's out of control. So,
right,
I think as women we need to really come together because at the end of the day, we really control everything.
yes,
We
yeah,
control everything. I'm not saying we don't. I mean, we don't have. Let me back up. We don't have control over what our men do, right? We
mm-hmm.
can't control what our men do. But if we walk in the way that we're supposed to as a woman, right, we would get a lot further with our men.
Right. Do you think the unity amongst women has gotten better, or do you think it's somewhat non-existent?
I think it's gotten better
Okay.
because if you look at, I mean, you still have, unfortunately, even with Mary J. Blige and Faith,
Mm-hmm.
they were put against each other from the very beginning, right? You have Nicki Minaj and Cardi B from the
Mm-hmm.
very beginning. It's like they don't want them to be friends because they're competitors, and you can't
Mm-hmm.
be friends with competitors. But if you look at like the younger girls that are coming up, it seems like they're together. They're not fighting as much. It doesn't seem like to me. I mean, you still
Right.
have your reality TV. You still have, even the housewives are still fighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, come on now, come on. We need something new.
Right.
But I think it's not as bad. I think we've made some progress and I will say probably because a lot more of our young women are successful. Like you got to give it to these young girls. I think it's Impact is coming on to
Mhm.
Monday.
Right.
Um, New influence. These are young. I mean, some of us have been doing this our whole life trying to get there. Some are very successful from a very young age, which is
Right.
it's showing more opportunities out there.
Right. I got a couple more questions for you. This is in regards to
Yes.
because interview coming. What was it like working with Shatoya?
Okay, so Shatoya is a sweetheart. I love Shatoya. From the time that I met her, well, we did the Zoom call, and I talked about what I was trying to do, and she said that whoever was supposed to play the part with her, it didn't work out, and that's just God, right? So for
Hmm.
me, it was another opportunity, and she needed somebody.
Right.
So it wasn't just like, okay, I need you to come here, do that, and go sit over there. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. If I needed to, anytime I need to text her or, even coming down there, finding out where we should go and, stuff like that. She was
Mhm.
never, some people you work with, they're not the nicest. They're not. They're
Right.
they're very clearly there for you to do your job and leave, and that's it. But
Right.
Shatoya looks at it the same way I do when I do my productions. Everyone is a family.
Hmm.
Everyone everyone matters. I never felt like because I'm only in a few scenes, I'm not just as important as everybody else. And the
Mhm.
people that I was on set with, everybody was very welcoming and friendly, and that comes from the top down. So that's the culture that she created, and she's, very vocal about that and
Mhm.
very welcoming for everybody to be involved. And I really appreciate that. And I would love to continue to work with her.
Right.
Like I said, you make connections, and I'm rooting for her, and she's rooting for me, and that's great.
Mhm. Yes. Um, that scene you shot with Ray, Kai, and everybody else. Y'all literally shot that scene in my backyard, and I didn't even know it.
Oh,
And
wow.
I saw it, and I was like, "Look at this," you know. So kind of, for somebody that's from this neighborhood, it personally hits home. This is where my family's from too, and Shatoya gets that unity from her family. The Myers family are a very, very close knit family. Nothing will tear them apart. What I don't care what it is, nothing. They're going to stay united. They're going to look out for each other, and they're going to support each other. That's what I love about them. That's what I love about Shatoya, Nika, their mom,
Right.
everybody. So
Yeah.
I mean, they're wonderful people, and I'm glad she's able to bring that to your work environment.
Right.
And it's probably, you guys are going to see it a whole lot more in season 2. So, and then you worked with Prince Rasheed. He's
Yeah.
also from New York, so you guys have worked together in the past. So how was that? I know you said it was great in the beginning. How was that overall?
So we went to this, I forgot what it was called. It was a like you come together with a group of people. It was kind of improv, and they give you scenes and you find a scene partner, and we already knew we were going to meet there for that event, so we were putting a scene together, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just you do the scene, and then they give you a reel from it. But from there, he said he definitely wanted to work with me further. So when
Mm-hmm.
this opportunity came, he was a person of his word. He got in touch with me. He said, I have somebody, to introduce you to. So I give him much respect for that. And also for helping me, get in contact with the person that put Brielle's Tale on Tubi as well.
Mm-hmm.
So working with him in that scene where, I mean, we have some kind of scenes where we're going at each other. And
Right.
it was just, it was fun to do because he's like a fun kind of guy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good for us to be able to be serious and serious in the scene
Mm-hmm.
and kind of adversaries, but that speaks to both of our skill. I think we both did pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I'll probably be working with him again as well. But when it comes to family, like you were saying, I mean, I have my daughters in my productions as well. I want to shout out my son before I get off. His name is Tori. He has a seizure disorder. He's not like we're all in entertainment. My son, my other two daughters. He's the one behind the scenes, but he's an artist. He has Brainstorm Life on Instagram, so he has T-shirts, hoodies, everything to bring seizure awareness. This one says it's electric. So in his brain, when he has a seizure, it's like an electrical storm.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to watch him go through that since he was a baby. So I wanted to just shout out his company um,
Right.
as well, you know, and that's it.
And we will definitely support. So you said it's what is it called on Instagram?
It's brainstorm underscore life.
Brain.
Brainstorm
I'm writing this down.
underscore
So
life.
I get a break, I can go ahead and follow his page. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time with me out your schedule today to interview with me.
Okay.
I Prince Rashid was supposed to actually interview with us, but he's under the weather, so we'll probably hear from him another time.
I just want to get my social media and stuff.
Okay, go ahead and give that.
All right. So it's on Instagram, Ericka Monique Williams, Ericka Monique Williams. When you go to the Instagram page, the link to Brielle's Tale is there, to my movie on Tubi. And also, if you look up my novels on Amazon, it's under Ericka Williams. So I have 7 novels out. It's All That Glitters, Shining Star, A Woman Scorned, Trilogy, Nothing Matters, and The Robin Hood. So you'll be seeing me coming out with some of my productions soon. I want to thank you so much, Dara. I feel like we're Facebook friends now, so
Yeah, we're Facebook friends now, and
yeah,
we, I mean,
thank
and
you
we
so much.
have it. We've had a connection with that before we even talked to each other.
Exactly right. Yes,
I
yes.
was like, when I'm thinking sitting here thinking, okay, she's gonna tell me some of her past movies or talk about her books, right? I see a resume, and I was reading. I was like, New Jersey, um, Howard University. I went to Hampton University. I pretty much grew up on Hampton University's campus. But I have cousins that went to Howard University, and we always go back and forth about who is the real HU.
Always right.
Okay,
How about
that
we
was
both
my
just? How about we both just love each other and say
we
we both?
both just looked at one day. Now, when we were at dinner one day, and I said, I think they're equally great. They both wanted to jump me. My cousin Shelly went to Howard, Renee went to Hampton, I went to Hampton. How can
Right,
you say that? One
right.
is
Oh, that's an argument. I don't know if we'll get
right.
past that. I don't know.
We'll never get past it, but they're both great. Um, But when I saw Rutgers University, all I could think of was mama.
Yeah.
My mama graduated from Rutgers University in 1972 with a master's degree in Spanish and
Okay.
also with a PhD in doctor PhD in Spanish in 1987.
Wow.
And when she graduated in 87, my grandfather had also graduated with his doctorate. He was 67 years old, but then he had to
Wow.
immediately retire from the Perth Amboy Board of Education to take care
Right.
of my grandmother after having a stroke.
Wow.
So, but there's a school named after him in Perth Amboy. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, this hits home. And
Are
so
they?
I
Are they? Okay. So no, he's your grandfather passed, but um, they are. Who's still? Is your mom still alive too?
no, my mom passed away in 2014. My dad passed away in 2018. Um,
Ah.
I have an aunt in that lives in Somerset. I don't really
Okay.
talk to her much, but I mean I talk to her every now and then. But she also graduated from Rutgers too.
Wow.
Um, so I mean they all went to Rutgers. My mom came to Hampton after she got her master's from Rutgers. She was almost done with her doctorate, and she met and married my dad. And my
Wow.
dad she was almost finished with her doctorate at 26. I mean,
Wow.
was 5, but she didn't finish. She left, came taught at Hampton. It was Hampton Institute at the time, and
Right.
then married my father, had me and my sister. My sister and I'm the youngest, and
Okay.
so probably when I was 6, my dad was like, built this. We were in we lived not this particular house. This was a rental property my dad had, but now I live in it. Um, there was a house we actually lived across town, but we came into this neighborhood a lot because my great grandmother was here.
Okay.
Pretty much he built a room for her and said, look, you need to finish your doctorate, and everything went from there.
Wow.
But
That's
they've been gone. I mean, I understand legacy a lot more now
yeah.
than I did when I was much younger because we were spoiled kids, and so yeah.
Right.
And I
it's
used to hate
it's
going to New
been
Jersey.
such a good experience with you. I mean, you ask some good questions.
Yes.
Sometimes you get the same questions, but
Mhm.
I wish you all the best. I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm actually. I'm in my house. I work for an insurance company.
Okay.
So I'm actually sitting at my desk in my this is technically a living room, but this is like I call this my work mess area.
Okay.
And this is where I'm doing my interviews at. So this is what I do. I actually just graduated from Hampton University in May with an
Okay.
associate of science in business management. I will graduate again this May with my bachelor's degree in business and management, and
Okay.
hopefully go to I'm gonna take a break, and then I'm gonna go get my master's in business management with a concentration in business administration with a concentration in marketing management. But I'm gonna
Okay.
take a break. So yeah, so that's what I do.
All the best. God bless you. Thank you again.
Thank you, and thank you again. We're gonna end this live. I want you to stay in with me, okay?
Okay.
All right.